Good afternoon, everyone. So I would like to welcome all the participants and our speaker, Ms. Bhuvaneshwari. Ms. Bhuvaneshwari Raman has close to 3 decades of experience in education industry. Her experience also includes lots of corporate houses and a very prestigious school like Bombay Scottish. She has been associated with also the campus, different universities like University of Madras. Also, she's working currently in University of Madras. She has trained more than 7,000 teachers, India and abroad. She is a diploma holder in early childhood education, and also she has a career coach and also a happiness coach. And she has done her this course from Berkeley University and a career development. She is also a career development facilitator. So I would like to welcome Ms. Bhuvaneshwari Raman. She is a speaker and she has a very good topic, which is again the activities which will help us into virtual classroom, which all of us are doing today, and that will help us a lot. Over to Bhuvaneshwari.
So much, Veena. Good afternoon, all of you. It's lovely to see so many teachers eagerly waiting in the afternoon, and it's lovely to connect. Some of them, of course, I see are from some schools where I have also been. So wonderful to meet you all. Great. So teachers, first of all, I would like to congratulate each one of you. With our COVID-19 pandemic coming in, there has been a huge change and a shift, and teachers like you, me, and all of us have beautifully adjusted to taking sessions online. We were not ready with it, but we said, for the sake of our children, for the sake of our school, I think we need to do it, and we have really taken the challenge up beautifully and done it to the best of our ability. So a big pat on your back, teachers. I think that is an awesome job that's being done, and let's continue doing that. I think we do have a few more participants joining in, and we do have participants on Facebook Live also. So welcome to each one of you. Today's session is all about, yes, virtual classroom. We know that that's going to be the new normal, and we also know that that is here to stay. No longer are we going to go back to something which was a few months before. It will take time, and let us get used to the new normal and how are we able to deliver our sessions better to our children. So this session, I think we got talking, Veena and I had discussed with Veena, saying that a lot of teachers have taken up the sessions beautifully on various platforms. And one thing that always came out is, ma'am, when they're sitting in our class, we are able to tell the children, no, I think don't get distracted, look here. And, we could do a few things or talk to them and get their focus and attention. But in a virtual classroom, they are actually at home. They are in their bedrooms or they are in their living rooms. Sometimes some of them are eating, sometimes, they're not kind of focused, and we do not know how to get that going, because we want the best of learning to happen for the children, and we are using various tools and we are trying our best to do it. But if their concentration and attention is not there, ma'am, how do we go about it? And that's how this topic today has come in, where we said that what is the power of activities? So the power of activities, and especially to kind of make it more interesting, to get the children to focus on certain things, to get their attention, to hook the learner. This is the terminology that I generally use, saying that yes, the learners are ready, are willing to learn and say, oh, now what is next? Get back their energy, get back their focus and the concentration. So today's session is going to give you a lot of tips on what kind of activities we teachers can do in our virtual classroom. Now here, what I would want you to say is, these activities can be done at multiple areas. Like, for example, children have finished a math session and it's been a heavy session, and now it is your session. Maybe you're a language teacher, you're going to start off with English, but you want to get the children to, because they've had a very heavy session, you want to kind of get them interested, get the monotony off, and then say, come on, we're going to do something different. You could do it in the beginning of your session. So that could be something which you as teachers can take a call. Where do you want to fit in these activities? And you could do it in the beginning of the session, or when you had a session and you feel that, okay, yes, this is something which is going a little above the head and children need a little bit of a change, you can do it midway, or you could do it as a culmination also. It could be done in multiple ways. And of course, all these activities, I totally understand that you have only a certain amount of time for your sessions. These activities will not take a lot of time. So are we ready? Get set, and we shall start the session. So I'm going to share the screen here. And at any point of time, if you have a question or a doubt, or you're not able to, please use the chat box and type in your queries. So we have our team who will collate these questions, which we can take it, during the question and answer session towards the end of our program. Or in between, if you're having some problem not understanding or having an issue with a particular slide, please put it in the chat box and I will have the team come back to me saying, ma'am, can you explain this once again? This is a session which is a highly interactive session, and I want your full participation, teachers. Can I have a thumbs up sign or something on the chat box saying, yes, you're all ready for this experiential workshop wherein you're ready and you will willingly participate? Great, thank you so much. I have Rupa saying yes, I have Bharti, I have Sina, I have Farita, Rajita. Thank you so much, teachers. Wonderful. So here we're going to have a great session wherein you're going to learn a lot of activities which you will immediately start implementing from, I think tomorrow is Sunday. Those of you who have sessions tomorrow can start off with tomorrow or on Monday. And do connect back with us through our, through either Veena or Ravinder or the contact that you have, saying how beneficial this has been, and what are things which worked for you, which you found it interesting, what are things which you had problems in, so that we can always tweak and help you with various other activities. Thank you. So let's start. I'm going to start the screen share right now. And as I told you, we are having the session on power of using activities. Before we start about the session, a little bit about me. I think Veena has already introduced. It's just that I think to give you in the nutshell, I love children and I love to make learning fun for the children. I think my entire philosophy or my journey has been basically to take upon that particular area. How do I make learning fun for the children? And I think as a teacher, when you are convinced and you feel, okay, it's going to be great and it's a lovely class and it's going to be a lot of fun with my children, that gets translated to what you're doing in class with the activities and things that you have planned out. I'm not going to go much more beyond this because Veena has already told you a bit about it. Yes, I'll be ready. So the first one is called A to Z. So do we all know our alphabets? So we know it is A, B, C, D, E, etc., etc., etc. till Z. Now this game is all about these alphabets. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to start from A to Z today because obviously we have a time today with respect to, we need to finish this session in 2 hours, including the Q&A sessions. So I'm not going to take all the alphabets A to Z. So now all of you, whoever are there, you need to take up only the first 10 letters of the alphabet. So that is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Only till J, what you need to do is to run around your house or the area where you're staying in, or if it is a hostel or wherever you are staying in, you just need to run around and you need to basically get objects which begin in these particular alphabet. For example, I will run to my kitchen and maybe pick up an apple. I will run maybe and pick up, say, to my child's bedroom and pick up a ball, for example. So you need to pick up objects, not now, please wait. I will tell you when you have to start because there are certain rules also. So listen to all the rules fully and then we can start when I say go, okay? So please wait. Let's hear the entire rules for this. You will have to run around and pick up objects for all the 10 letters of the alphabet. You need not have to limit only to one object. You can bring in as many objects as you want for each of those letters. For A, you can bring 10 objects. For B, you can bring 6 objects, whatever you find around. But you'll have to bring it to the area where you are currently working now. Maybe to your laptop or your desktop or to your phone where you have placed your phone, etc. You'll have to bring those objects. I don't want you to write or draw. I just want you to bring those physical objects to the place where you are currently working. And remember, no alphabet should be left behind. You cannot say, I brought 25 alphabets for A and 18 for B, etc., etc., and for I didn't get anything. No. You will have to bring at least one object for definitely the 10 letters of the alphabet, A to J. But the more you bring, the better, because there are points. And now let me go to the points. What is it that we need to do? As I told you, you're going to take the first 10 letters of the alphabets, which is A to J. You will have to bring out the objects or the things that begin with the letters of the alphabet, that is for you to collect. As many as you can, the more the better, but make sure you don't leave out any alphabet where you don't have an object for it. And you are going to get 8 minutes for this. So is this clear to all of you? Yes? And I'm going to see whether there is any question in the chat box, and then I will ask you to start. If there's any question, please put forth in the chat box. Have all of you understood this? Yes, Shalini is asking me to repeat it. I'm going to repeat it. We have the first 10 letters of the alphabet, A to J. When you say no, you have not understood it. Yes, I will give you 8 minutes, but wait, I'm going to tell ready, steady, go only then. You can pick up objects starting with A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. till J, minimum of at least one for each of them, and maximum of how many ever you can bring it from anywhere. It can be from your drawer, it can be from your child's room, it can be from the kitchen, from the bedroom, from the drawing room, from the balcony, from your neighbor's room, whatever it may be. You can bring it from anywhere that you can lay your hands on, and make sure you bring it to the area where you're working. So physically, you'll have to bring all those things. And then I want your videos to be on for me to also have a look at it. What is it that you've collected? I will tell you. Do not write. Zenith, I don't want you to write any of those things. I want those objects to be brought, okay? And your time of 8 minutes starts now. Please run around. You have exactly 8 minutes. Wonderful, Nilima. If you're ready, please run around. Bharti, make sure you pick up as many things. I don't want you to write what you're bringing in. I want physical objects. I want A to J, physical objects. Run around and bring it. Meenakshi, can I have you also run around and bring all those objects? As many as you can. Don't limit to only one, because you have points. The more you bring, the better. The more you bring, the better. Don't stop with just one. For A for apple, I would like you to go and search. Maybe you can pick up something else. You have a toy which is like an alligator. Maybe you have something which is looking like an axe, or maybe some apron. As many, A to J. Do not write. Rita, I don't want you to write. I want you to bring those objects, physical objects. I want you to bring, for example, I brought maybe an apple, I brought a phone, I brought a mobile. If in case I want to put those things, I brought a cup, a C for cup, a physical one. I need to keep it there next to me. Great, 2 minutes up. 6 more minutes to go. As many as you can. Kashish, please go around. Have you brought a cat and a dog? I hope they are small puppets. Unless you have pets there. Laksh, there is a lot of time. Don't worry. I can see somebody bringing in a lot of things there. I can see them running there. Okay, Lakshmi, you've done? Great. Make sure you've collected a lot. The more you collect, Lakshmi, you've only picked up one of each, Lakshmi. Pick up as many as possible. Oh my God, Dr. Shanta is saying my table is full. Wonderful, Shanta ma'am. That's great. Daisy, we still have time. You still have another about 4 more minutes. You can pick up more things. Sajita has picked up gold. Wonderful. Sajita, make sure you picked up only one item. Please pick up many more. Many more. You can pick up a book, a bat, a ball, whatever you get. See, only for chocolate, you can go and pick up a cup, maybe something else. Bharti, I hope you have picked up a lot of items and not just one. I like that, Jenny. Your place is filled with things. But I want all those items brought here, okay? They are on your table. I hope it's on your table. Great, thank you so much. You brought it on your table and you kept it. A Kadai umbrella uniform is with KU, etc. Lakshmi. I want you to use only the first 10 letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Only till J. We're not looking at the other alphabets because we do have. Yes, wonderful, Priya. I hope you have all those. Oh, you've got even a drawer from there? Nice. Great, great. I like that. Almond. Interesting. Lovely, that is Bhavna. Yes, picking up more. Yes, Priya, you have time. Go ahead, pick up more. The more you collect, the more points you're going to gather. So those of you who've said done, please make sure that you collect as many more as possible. I love that. Cup, clay, cabbage, cone, can. Wonderful. Oh my God. I'm sure your people in your home are wondering what is it that you're doing, running around and picking up and putting all these things on your table. Excellent, excellent. I think we shall give another minute more. Pillow, bed sheet, Preeti, I would put it as a bed sheet for B. A pillow would come P, which is later Preeti. So I would use it as a bed sheet. If you have a bed sheet, I would put it under B. Wonderful. That's interesting. Clip, cover, cloth, wonderful. Cashew. So I think today all the dry fruits have been ransacked. We have almonds, we have cashews, wonderful. Badam. Oh, so we are using. Kids are taking it away, ma'am. Just request your children to keep it for a few minutes. Dustbin. Cucumber, a harmonium. Wow, that's nice. Great, please keep all those on your table because we're going to calculate the points. How we calculate the points is also interesting. Puppet, interesting. A earphone, a hairband. Helmet, wow. That's interesting. I think this is the last 30 seconds. Please make sure you're back to your places. Ginger. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. Bride. What is a bride? I hope it's a toy bride. Ice cube. Okay, that's interesting. Bridegroom also. Along with the bride, you've got the bridegroom also. Okay. This is amazing. Some interesting ones which are coming up now. Superb. Great. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Yes. And we have all of you back to your tables with the things that you've got. Excellent. I love the energy and I love the way you went and took things from your children and your children were coming back to say, please give it back to me. That's interesting. Chopsticks. Wonderful. Excellent. So thank you so much. So now wait. Keep those things ready. How did you feel when you did this activity? Can you put it on the chat box? How did you feel? Did you feel nice? Did you feel, oh, what is this? I mean, it's something interesting, energetic, excited. Thank you, Farah. Thank you, Rekha. Fun way, Gauri. Thank you. Excited, very interesting. Excited, excellent. Anxiety. Oh, yes. What is it that I'm going to go and bring? Okay, wonderful. Okay, fun. Wonderful, very happy, good and had fun. Somebody's written, super game. Okay, excellent. I also felt I should got back my childhood. Okay, great, wonderful. So this is exactly where we are going to tap in, where we say that children, when we say they are visual learners, you find that they are auditory learners, they're kinesthetic learners too. So we're going to make use, these activities that we're going to have today are going to be recollection of memories. Very good. I never knew I had so many things in my house. That's amazing. Excellent comments coming in. So we are going to use a lot of these sense organs for our children to, kind of go get excited and come back, because they're then going to have all their focus and energy on what is it next that ma'am is going to actually tell us. So it's very innovative and it's very interesting, and you will see how I'm going to link it to your subjects also. It is not something which is tangentially off. So now let's see, again I'm going to share it was teamwork from my family. I love the way, thank you Sneha, I think you had the entire family doing it for you, keeping them back. Rashmi, just wait before you keep them back. I would like you to just see how you have to score it. So I'm going to share the screen now to show you how we need to score. So now this is exactly what we had, and we have collected all the objects. Now let's look at the scoring pattern. Each object that you collected gets 5 points. If you have not collected for a particular letter, for example, for I, you did not get anything, you will get -3 points. Suppose you did not get for H and G, you will get -6 points, just in case if you have not got for 2 letters of the alphabet. There is a bonus here. Please pay attention. This is a special rule. This is where not only the excitement of the children we are tapping into, we are going to tap into how to develop their creativity and how to develop their logical ability. Please pay attention here, teachers. This is a beautiful rule. And of course, the last one is when we total up after we do the bonus rule also, they will be the winner. Now, how is the bonus rule? Let me just go to that. For example, if you've collected one object for every letter of the 10 letters, you get 5 into 10, because 5 points for each letter, you get 50 points. This is not a standard one, teacher. You can tweak it to the way your class is. For example, if it is a grade 1 class and they only know the 2 times table, you can see each gets 2 points. Please feel free to tweak it. Now, the bonus where I said the creativity comes in is if you have taken, for example, A for apple, you can also say, ma'am, that apple is also going to be used in F for fruit. You can use it in multiple areas or multiple columns or multiple places, starting from A to J. So now I have A for apple, which I will get 5 points. Since you're also using that for F for fruit, you're very intelligent and very creative. So you get bonus of which alphabet does fruit begin with? F. So F comes A, B, C, D, E, F, the sixth letter of the alphabet. So you will have 6 multiplied by, how many letters are there in fruit? F-R-U-I-T is 5 letters in the word fruit. So you will multiply 6 with 5 and get 30 extra points. How did I get 30? Apple, I'm also using it in the column which is F for fruit. So F is the 6th letter of the alphabet multiplied by how many letters are there in that word fruit? F-R-U-I-T. So it is 5 letters. So I multiply 6 by 5 and I get a bonus of 30 more. So based on this, can you calculate your total and can you please write it in the chat box? What is your total? And make sure, suppose you've got a cereal box. So you can use it for B for box. You can use it for C for cereal box also. Let me see how many of you have got it. 45. Wonderful, Garvin. And this is where your creativity develops. 80, Sajita. Very good. Lakshmi's got 80 points. Make sure that you're using it in multiple areas. Shakha has got 75. Shalini. Kavya is 80, 45, 65. Wonderful, wonderful. You got 80 points, Jyoti. That's nice. 115, Nashra. Very good. Pat on your back. 100 is, somebody's got 100 there, hubby. Wonderful. And somebody's got 105 here. Excellent. 120. Oh my God, that's interesting. Very good. 130 by somebody. Superb. So teachers, this is where I want you to understand that this was just not an activity basically to hook the learner or to get them interested, but it is also an activity to develop their creativity and the critical thinking, which are more important. We keep talking about 21st century skills. 150, Sheikh. Very good. That seems to be the highest so far. Unless I go 400. Oh my God, Jenny. I'm sure you've collected everything from your home and kept it there. Amazing. That's the highest. Jimmy leads with 400. Hair clip was used for 2 alphabets. Excellent, excellent. Shalini has got 200. Karthik has got 175. Amazing. So this is an activity which I thoroughly enjoy doing it with the children, because children come up with various things. They come up with things which as an adult we would not have thought of. So that's where the creativity is highest. So we need to encourage that, and in a risk-free or a stress-free environment, children would love to do this. So Umi has got 185. I see. Excellent, excellent. Shagufta, very good. I think that was a good begin. We can always do it better when we do it the next time. And now, what did we do? We took, say, a minute or two to explain the rules, and we did 8 minutes with 10 letters of the alphabet. Now you may say, ma'am, I don't have 10 minutes with my children to do this. Absolutely no problem. You could say, let's do it with just the first 5 letters of the alphabet. Or you could even make it interesting by saying, it is, suppose, for example, it's my math period. So I will say it is MATHS. Please go and collect something with these particular alphabets. Children will run around. Suppose it is a science subject. You could say SCIEN. That's it, because C and E are repeated again. So pick up something with your subject area, or maybe a topic that you're actually doing on that day, say a fraction, or maybe you're doing something about in chemistry or in biology, or something about the heart. So it could be HEART. So it could be an introduction for the children to say what topic they're actually going to be studying, and then getting them to do these kind of activities. It doesn't stop there. That's where I'm going to show you how you can actually link it. So amazing. I really find that there is a lot of comments there. English same letters. Yes, English also you can do it with the same letters, right? You can definitely do it for all subjects. When I said example of math and science, I just took a few examples. You can do it for English, you can do it for Hindi. Language teachers can take it up. French teachers, Hindi teachers, who it can be done with any particular subject, and any teacher can do it. In fact, even a PT teacher can actually do it. A music teacher can do this. Ask them to run around and get these things, etc. Economics teacher can do it, Shipra, excellent. So all these teachers can do it. So now I'm going to come back to say how I can link this to other subject areas. So I'm just going to go back to the presentation. And here we, of course, said that this is the winner, etc. So one object, and this was your total points. How do you extend this to your subject areas? For example, if you're a math teacher, you will say in A, for example, how many of these letters have you got? You've got maybe an apple, an alligator, an apron, and totally you would have collected, say, 20 objects. So what fraction of it is from A? So you will have it as 3 divided by 20. Similarly, for B, it could have been 5 divided by 20, which again, children can go on to say, I want to bring it to the lowest terms. So you can say that, yes, that's amazing. So 5 by 20 is 1 divided by 4. So various things, or you could say, which of these fractions, which of these alphabets have the same fraction that you collected? Was it A and B, where you collected 3 objects each? So both of these fractions are 3 by 20. And similarly, you can do it with science. So I'm just going to stop the screen share, and I'm going to come back and explain to you what I mean by science. So here, when I have, for example, I have got this. Suppose I have collected A, let me say I've collected, say, an apple and an alligator toy. B, I have a ball, bat, and a banana. So now this would be, let me say, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Total objects I have collected is 17. What fraction of it is from A? It is 2 upon 17. For B, it is 3 upon 17. For C, it is 3 upon 17. So I notice that the fraction for B and C is the same. So you can introduce on which fractions are similar, like fractions. You can talk about equivalent fractions. You can talk about reducing the fractions, etc. to the lowest term. That was in math. Now in science, from the things that you have collected, for example, you've collected apple and alligator toy, all these, which are natural, which are found natural, and which are man-made. Maybe in science, you could have that as a correlation. Or maybe if you're teaching the higher grades, suppose you're talking about made up of carbons. So are these organic materials or are these inorganic materials? Inorganic, are these aliphatic, are they aromatic, etc. You can talk about it even in the higher grades. The way age appropriate, you can have the children to do a lot of these connections in science. A history teacher, for example, could say that which ones of these existed during the metal age. So it could be that C for chair is something which you wrote. So they could say, yes, the chair existed in the metal age, but it was in a different form. It was, copper, bronze age, etc. And then you can ask them to actually draw. So this could be an insight into saying that I'm going to actually take up metal age today. We're going to be doing something on the bronze age, the copper age today. So all these can be beautifully linked to any subject that you are actually teaching. Teachers on the chat box, I would like you to say, do you think you can use it in your classroom? If you can just put on the chat box whether you can use it, because I generally ask teachers to show me a thumbs up sign whether they can use it or not. Yes, thank you so much. I think, of course, I can see Shalini, I can see Hema, Savita. Thank you so much. Yes, these are things which you can use. And of course, as I told you, your time you can decide. You just want to give, say, 4 minutes to get the learners to get hooked on and focused on. You could do this activity, which is just going to take you about 3.5 minutes, and then they are ready to, listen to you for the next half an hour, 45 minutes. So great. Thank you so much, Rashmi, Neha. Thank you so much for all of you for responding to this. Thank you. Excellent. So I think I can see that most of you feel that you can actually do these activities in your classrooms, or rather in the virtual classroom. So now let me take you on to what is it we have next. Why not? It's interesting activity. Yes, great, wonderful. It's very useful to keep the students connected. So I think all of you are in agreement saying that you can definitely take this on. So now, as I told you, you can extend it to the other subject areas. Now let's come to the next one. So the next here, what we have. Okay, are you ready? Because this is where I want you to keep a paper and pen with you. Can all of you just keep a notepad and a pen with you and quickly write what is it that is there in common? We can use it in the classroom as you have correlated this with many subjects. Thank you, Lakshmi, and leading us correctly. Maria, wonderful, conducted this activity in my Sanskrit class. Excellent, Padma, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So wonderful. So now just keep a paper and pen. Are we ready? So I'm going to pose a few questions and you have to find out what is common in those 4 or 5 options that I have listed out. Are you ready? Great. So let's tell example of history. Syed, I was just giving you an example of history, Syed. So we were talking about how we would talk about, say, a bronze age or a metal, we're talking about the copper age, etc. So in the list of things that they have got, ask them how many of them existed during the metal age. Do you think they existed? So apple has always been there. It's been at the tree. So suppose they say they find a table or a chair, or they've written C for chair, for example, or a D for drum example. So you could say what kind of a chair was there during those particular time periods. So Syed, you can relate it to many things in history as and when you're doing that particular chapter or concept. I hope that's clear. So now are we ready? So we're going to have a set of questions and it's a very interesting one. And again, this takes hardly 2 minutes for your children to actually come up with. You can either prepare them as a slide or you can just say it orally for your children with the options. I prefer the visual medium because some children like to see it. Some children like to listen. So it helps both ways. So this is the screen that I've got for you for that. So the first question, what is common in sky, navy? What do you think? What do the following 5 things have in common? Sky, navy, celeste, azure, cerulean. Can you please put it in the chat box? What is in common? Excellent, Zarina. Excellent, Neha. Very good, Syed. Syed, can you expand on that, please? Yes, Shanti, Sajid, great. Amandeep, Habi, beautiful. So I think amazing teachers. You're all very intelligent, and I didn't have to give you the answer. And here, for those of you who might have got stuck, the common link with the 5 of them that I've given there is the blue color. So great. I think many of you or most of you have already got it. Superb. Great set of teachers we have here. Let's go to the next one. Are we ready for the next one? Okay. What do these following 5 things have in common? Milk, soda pop, coffee, orange juice, tea. Can you put it in the chat box, please? For those of you who want to see what those 5 things are, let me share the screen again. Very good, Shabina, Agnes. For those of you who want to see it, milk, soda pop, coffee, orange juice, tea. Yes, let me see. Okay, they are all drinks. Okay. You can drink them, okay? They are all liquids. Excellent, excellent. We can drink, Sumia, that's right. And they're all beverages. Excellent. Liquids and drinks, yes, perfect. As you rightly pointed out, all of them are liquids and all of them are beverages. So this is what I have here as liquid and of course, yes, beverages. This is a little more difficult. Let me see what you have to add here. What do the following animals have in common? What do the following animals have in common? Cat, fox, raccoon, squirrel, mouse. Let me see what we have in the chat. Cat, fox, raccoon, squirrel, mouse. What do they have in common? Let me see. Superb. Would you call it a rodent? Please think. Tail and fur, furry tail. Excellent, Meenakshi. What do we call that? There's a special name for that, Meenakshi. If you can just elaborate. Excellent. Habira, that's excellent. Can you expand on what the four legs mean? Superb. So as I told you, these animals, as most of you have said, have tail, which is in common, and they are also four-legged animals, and they are called quadrupeds. So you can introduce your children to some new terminology also when you're doing this. For example, it's a biology class and you want to do this. And there's nothing wrong. Even in an English or a math class, you can have. Generally, do not silo the subjects. I keep telling the teachers in all my workshops. Try to see, there is a lot of link when I'm doing math, there is a lot of link. I can weave it in beautifully with a science topic too. So try and see whether you can add all these things in a math class or an economics class or in physics class or in any of these sessions. So there could be a lot of learning in terms of English or in science or in biology when they're doing other subject areas too. So tail is in common, and they're also called quadrupeds, which means they have four legs. Excellent. Are you enjoying? I hope you are. So let's see the next one. Next one is very interesting. Let me see who gets it. What feature do the following words have in common? Armchair, egg, imagination, over, understand. Think hard. What do these things have in common? Can I see if any of you have answered in the chat box? I haven't got any answer. Oh yes, I've got 14. Wonderful, my God. Excellent, excellent teacher, superb, amazing. Superb. I thought it's a difficult one, teachers. You were faster than what I even, by the time I clicked, I think you've already given me the answers. Excellent. So let me see, go back to the slide. Okay. As you rightly said, they all begin with vowels. A, E, I, O, U. And the next one, I hope that's at least a difficult one for all of you. Let me see. What do the following land masses have in common? Italy, Gallipoli, Karpas, Istria, Sinai. What do they have in common? Can you please put it in the chat box? Italy, Gallipoli, Karpas, Istria, Sinai. Let me see what the answers in the chat are. I have 5 new messages. My God, Baika, excellent. Chetna, superb. Shiny. Shiny, you need to just think on that. Great, excellent. A is common. Oh, that's amazing. Interesting. I didn't think of that. The letter A is in common. Super. Okay. Okay. They are actually, let me go back so that I can show you. Each one of them are actually peninsulas. So Gallipoli, if you see, it's in Turkey. Karpas and Istria are in Europe, and then you have Sinai, which is in Egypt. So this is something which was given to me by a geography teacher, and she says, why not introduce something interesting even in geography when you have this in common? So this is superb to introduce children to new places, of course, because then they start being curious and inquisitive and want to go and take the atlas, open it and see it, or do a Google search and find out, where these are and what is the speciality about all these things. So these were just examples on what you could do with respect to a few subjects, but this is something which you can do with all the subjects, whether it is a science, whether it is a math, whether it is economics, whether it is accounts, whether it is going to be a biology, whether it's going to be a geography, a history lesson, anything. And it need not always have to be related only to the subject. It can also be general, because you want children to also develop on their GK. So this is a beautiful way where you can either prepare them in sheets, where you can write it on an A4 sheet and keep it in front of the camera for the children to see, and then flip and move the sheets away. Or you could make it in the form of a PowerPoint presentation like this, and this could become an area where they can actually get into a discussion. So maybe you could lead this to a discussion saying, post the session today, as a homework, I want you to do a little bit of a project on this. So they could do a lot of read up and then gain a lot more information, and they will be thrilled because they've actually seen, oh, this is a question I didn't get. I didn't know that. Okay, Italy and Gallipoli actually were peninsulas. I didn't have an idea about that. So let me go on and understand. So this will be a fabulous way of doing it on what this is what I say is what is common. Teachers, I hope you have understood. If there's any questions, please do feel free to ask. And Navinder, please, I request you, if there is any question which I am missing out reading, please kindly intervene and ask me if there's something which I'm missing. So apart from what is common, you can also arrange them in the order of increasing or decreasing, depending on what it is you want to say. For example, you could say a lake, then you could say a river, ocean, sea. What is it in increasing order? Can you arrange it? Or it could be in the form of something that is as simple as sizes. So maybe animals, you could say cat, and then you could say an elephant, you could say a giraffe, and then you could say a deer. So arrange it in the ascending order, in the order of how big they are, from the smallest to the largest. So you can have all these kind of combinations and various things. Chemistry teachers can actually give different elements and say arrange it in the atomic number. You can have them do on those areas. And math teachers, of course, you can give different combinations of indices, say 3 power 2, 2 power 4, 5 power 6. Arrange them in the decreasing order. So you could give them what is in common, or you could give them arrange it in order of increasing or decreasing. Interesting activity. Thank you. Will help to develop students' curiosity, definitely. For senior secondary, what activities to give? Just now, Ashraf, I just mentioned, you could do something with respect to atomic numbers in case you're talking about, chemistry per se. You can talk about what comes to your mind? For me, what comes to my mind in terms of math is, what is it in terms of indices to the power of. So you could give them something like that. You could give them probability. Like, for example, if you're talking about an NPR or an NCR, for example, you can say 3C2 and then 13C3 and then 4P2, etc. So even when you're talking about probability, you're talking about permutations, combinations, you can give them and ask them to do it in ascending and descending order. Ma'am, some more activities for small children, 1 to 4th standard. Yes, Nisha, you could give them tables. You can say 6 into 2, 2 into 4, 5 into 1, 3 into 6 for a math combination, for example. You can give them, say, for example, a creeper, maybe a tree, a shrub. You can arrange them, again, for science, for EVS, for that example. Please suggest for English, maybe you could give them, ma'am, in terms of phonics. The syllables, you have 2 syllables, 3 syllables, etc. So you can say with 1 syllable, you can arrange them in that particular order. From 1 syllable, move on to the 2 syllables and the 3 syllable one. So that could be something which for the little ones you can definitely do. You can also do, I would even do with simple things like, strokes. Like, for example, if they just know A, B, C slanting line, and they know the slanting lines, and then they know the sleeping line and the standing in a line. So the number of standing in a line, starting from no standing in a line at all to one standing in a line, two standing in a line, etc. And you could give them, say, alphabets like O. O has no standing in a line at all. And then you can give them an alphabet like, say, for example, T. Then you have one standing in a line. Then H, there is two standing in a line. So simple things like that, arrange them in small. So that's for the little ones. For the elders, I have told you, or the senior students, I have told you, ma'am, what about the computer in small classes? So computer, if you're talking about the bits and the bytes which they have learned in the computers, you could try and give them in that particular order of arrangement. You could also give them, how computer came from, you had the entire of their room full, then you have the desktop, and then you had the laptop. Arrange them in the order when they have actually been released or come into, come into the basic usage for man. So you can ask them to arrange it. Hindi also, ma'am, you can give it, like, for example, if you're talking about sizes, you can give the different fruits, or you can give the animals and ask them to actually, arrange them according to their sizes is something which you can try and give. Giving angles to arrange in ascending or descending order. Yes, Zenith, you can definitely do that. That's again another thing. You could even add, say 35 degrees. Then you could say right angle instead of saying 90 degrees. So the child actually knows, okay. Or you can say a right angle plus 45 degrees. So the child actually adds it and then finds it. Primary section also, you can do a lot of tables which you can add up to. You can do, like in science, I was talking about how you can do the climber, and then you can talk about the shrub, the tree, and all those things, as I was telling. There are many examples that you can give for each of those subjects. You can do it as, ma'am, how can we give collaborative activity for students for primary classes and virtual classroom? Definitely. I think, Soumya, we will definitely take this up maybe in the Q&A session. Naveedhar, if you can help me remember that question. We can do a lot of these activities in any subject area, teachers. As I told you, you are highly creative and you are experts in the domain. What comes to my mind is what I'm giving you, but there are many, many activities which we can tell definitely. So what is common? What is, like, I really love the way how all of you said, instead of, I thought of peninsula or something like that. You said letter A is in common. That's an amazing, it's out of box thinking. So it's a beautiful way of thinking. There's no one right answer. For all that, when you're actually preparing yourself in that one answer, the children will come up with something else which is far much more interesting, and say, wow, that's great. I mean, I really love. So I strongly believe that I learn from my children. I mean, I'm a continuous learner. I learn from everybody whom I interact and meet with. But the best learning happens for me when I'm in the class. And for me, fortunately, I have been privileged to work right from KG to grade 10. I used to teach the middle school and the high school math science. So I would teach the 5th standard to the 10th standard, but I always found that, math became a phobia for the children. So I then went on to do my ECCED, and then I started teaching the pre-primary year classes, or the early years as we call it. And then I found that that's such an interesting age to also handle, and I didn't want to let go. Fortunately, I was lucky. I was in a school like Bombay Scottish where we had a shift system, and I would teach the morning from 5th to 10th math science, and in the afternoon shift, I would teach the KG classes. So it's really interesting how we can actually give a lot of activities and how much we learn from those children actually. Okay, coming back to children are our best teachers. Very true, Grace. I totally agree. Let's go back to the screen, to the presentation, to see what is the next. So teachers, my idea has been to give you as many activities as possible in the time that we are here. So the next one is about, just give me a minute, my screen seems to have been frozen. In the meanwhile, if I can request teachers to just draw a grid like this, a 4x4 grid like this. Okay. Before we draw the 4x4 grid, this is an interesting activity which says Simon Says. So Simon says, so now all of you, what I asked you to do is to draw a grid like this for the next activity. So it's a 4x4 grid. Just prepare one and keep it. And we'll come back to this as a next activity, okay? Okay. Simon says is very interesting. I know all of you do it in your class, and this is something which in the virtual classroom works wonders, because see, basically children need that social connect. They need the socio-emotional area which we need to focus on. Unfortunately, that is an area which today the children are lacking just because of the virtual classroom. So, you know, it comes very interesting when in the Zoom or in any other medium that you use, they will see all the children stand there and then do it. So can I have all your videos on in this? Can I have your videos on, please? Yes, Neha, I'm also going to play that. That's great, Neha. Okay. Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. So now, Simon says is something which all of you are familiar with. So when I say Simon says, you will have to do that action. But if I say without using Simon says, you don't do that action. We'll start from the basic one, okay? So now when I say, and how do I say? When I say Simon says activity begins right now, and it will end only when I say Simon says is closed. Only then it ends, okay? So if I say Simon says stand up, can you all do that? That's why the video is on. And keep standing till the time we do the next activity, okay? Simon says lift your right hand. Right hand down. Simon says right hand down. Sit down. Simon says sit down. So, you know, you will have to just kind of get the children to understand. Only when Simon says comes, you will do that. Now, just like Neha has mentioned, very beautifully, you will have to do the opposite. Okay? Simon says, sit down. And then you will stand up. Excellent. Simon says, stand up. And then you will sit down. So, you know, you can play it in a different way. So one session you will say, Simon says the basic rules. And then the next time Simon say, oh man, it's boring. Just wait, see what is going to happen. And then this is just sit down and stand up. You can see Simon says turn left. So when you say turn left and you have to do the opposite, they'll turn left and they'll be puzzled and then they'll turn to the right actually. So you will have a lot of these combinations which you can do with Simon Says. Okay. So this is again another activity which you can do. The next one is something which is called as bingo. It's beautiful. Bingo is something which all of you have played and you know it also. So just like I told you how you have this 4x4 grid. In this particular grid, you can do various things. And now Simon Says is not just an activity for the pre-primary or the primary. In fact, I do this with the middle school and the higher grades also. It's how you give them the action. So if you say, Simon says, turn to your right at a 90-degree angle, you know, you can incorporate those kind of things, you know. Simon says, you know, form the letter I with a partner, you know, next to you. So they form, with the body formation, they form I and things like that. You can do a lot of things in terms for the higher grades also, tweaking it. Okay, sorry to have gone back. This is the bingo grid which we have. And this I'm going to actually use it for multiple things. I'm going to be using it for a math. I'm going to be using it for English. I'm going to be using it for science, for various things. So I want you to, let me say, starting with English, okay? In each of this square here, in your sheet of paper or notebook that you have, I want you to write an adjective in each small rectangle inside. In each of these cells, if I can call them cells, please write different adjectives. Now, what are adjectives? Happy, angry, you could have colors, you could have numbers, you could have mini, you could have, you know, beautiful, whatever comes to your mind. Can you please quickly write it? Just 16 of them. 4 into 4 is 16. It could be tall, short, angry, happy, polite, rude, ugly, beautiful, huge, few, many, numbers, what you want, or shapes, thin, fat, round, square. I mean, you know more adjectives than I do, but I'm just giving you a few to remember. Kind, rude, polite. Done? Super. Everyone, yes, Shalini, I want you to write, everyone to write. Adjectives, different adjectives. Yes, please write it in the squares, in the cells, in each one. Yeah, I don't want you to write it in the chat box. You can write beautiful, tall, gorgeous, gentle. Please write it. Yes, Ria, Anita, please write it in the sheet. Okay, now we are going to play the game. Are we ready? Can you just show me with a thumbs up sign if we are ready? Super. Excellent. Excellent. Let me see the next screen. We're almost 970 of us. Great. Excellent. A thumbs up sign if we have done. Superb. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. So now, coming back. So now we are going to play, as I told you, in English. Okay, let's say antonyms. Now remember, these antonyms games can be played right from the primary to the middle school to the high school, depending on what words you choose. Okay. I've written a few questions. If that particular question or the answer to that is there in your grid, please mark it either with a cross or a tick or just put a mark. The one who gets the Jaldi 3, that is the first 3. We're going to play bingo, the Jaldi 3. Anywhere, it could be in any row, anyway. It's not the Jaldi 5. Instead of the Jaldi 5, I'm doing a Jaldi 3 now, okay? Opposite of tall. If you have it, please put a tick or cross or an indication there. Opposite of happy. And those of you who got the Jaldi 3 will actually put it in the chat box, okay? Yeah, Lakbir, if you have it, I don't want the answers to be written there. I want you to mark it in the grid. So suppose I have this grid here. I've written happy, I've written sad, etc. If for the answer, I said, for what was the first question? I said opposite of tall, right? And then I said opposite of happy. If those answers are there, put a cross there, okay? The next one is opposite of thin. Opposite of rude. Opposite of ugly. Has anybody got the Jaldi 3? Very good, Farhat. Shalini has got it. Farhat has got it. Bingo. Sheikh has got it. Super. So this is just to give you an idea. Okay. Yes, Devika has got it. I can see Sunita, Anukiran, Shipra. Superb. I think a lot of you have got it. Excellent. So you've got the idea, right? The idea is, how do I generate interest for the children, get my antonyms also very clear. So you can do this with synonyms, you can do this with antonyms in English, you can do this with your adverbs, etc. Whatever you want to, you can always try and do that. This, you can also do it with math. For example, I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to show you this math question, for example. I don't want you to write it again. I've just written a few numbers. You ask children to write numbers from 1 to 15, okay, in any random order. Remember, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 multiplied by 4 is 16 of these. So I am writing random order. Some of them may repeat, some of them may not repeat. In any random order, I'm writing these numbers here. And then it could be anything. My sheet will be different from yours, will be different from another child's, but they all have only till 15. So you can write numbers from 1 to 15 in any random order. You may want to repeat them. You may want to, have some of them being repeated and some of them not being repeated, some of them being omitted. It's up to you. So what you need to do is, thank you so much. Somebody says, I'm going to play it with my kids in the evening itself. Yes, Shiny, thank you. Please do that. I would love to see how the reaction of the children. Okay. Pinky, yes, we can do it in social science also, as I told you, in terms of, suppose, for example, the same thing, like what is a plateau? Like here you wrote the adjectives, different adjectives is what you wrote here. Instead, you can write different things like, plateau, peninsula, island, etc. And your question could be saying that this is a landmass that is surrounded all around by water. Do you have it? And then they can click it. So that could be a social studies. If that comes to, it could be capitals. You can do this with capitals. You can do this with a lot of capitals. You can do this with volcanoes. The Cotopaxi, Chimborazo, Vesuvius. This is the volcano which is an active volcano in North America in this place, etc., etc. You could do this in multiple areas. So you have these numbers written. So now, the question that you could come up with, in case it is math, what I'm talking about is, like we had examples of social studies, we did example with English, with math too. You could just say the smallest even number. Do you have that? Mark it. So then the children mark it. So then they come to know that 2 is the smallest even number. There could be a child who has made an error and written it as 4. And when they say, I got a bingo, see what are the numbers you got? Then the child may say 4, this and this. Then you'll say, okay, where did 4 come in? Okay, the smallest even number would be 2. Or you could have them, kind of at the end of it, you could give the answers and they could do a quick check also. So the next could be 7 multiplied by 2. And those who have 14 will make their mark. I'm just giving you examples because we have not written the numbers, so we don't have a Jaldi 3 or something like that. We can say the largest single digit odd number. And then if you have a 9, then you make a quick check. It could be simple addition for those in the primary, saying 4 plus 3. Do we have an answer there? Yes, it is 7, so please make a mark. Baker's dozen. What is baker's dozen? And then they get on to understanding, okay, what is a baker's dozen? Do I have that? So various questions in terms of helping them understand whether it is an addition, whether it is even, odd numbers, the highest 2-digit number or the highest 1-digit number or the highest even number, 1 digit, any particular way. So these can be tweaked to the age group that you are catering to. So it need not have to be one-sided, saying that ma'am has said this, maybe I'll have to format it. Not at all. Please feel free to add many more. In fact, there is one more which I've also prepared. What comes after? Excellent. That's also another idea that you can. Thank you, Rupali. So when I say a number, whatever number I say, the next number, if you have that, you have to mark it. So you'll say, yes, what, instead of saying what comes after, you will indicate to them in the beginning itself. What comes after is the name of the game. So when I say 7, when I have 7, I will not mark it. I should mark it only when I have 8. And children have a lot of confusion in what comes before. In the pre-primary stages, they are very good in saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're very fast at that. But then they are not clear when I say, okay, what comes before 8? They will think, they will not know. So when you play these kind of games, this becomes a kind of a quick recap for them, saying that what comes before is the name of the game. 5. And then the child, maybe you can start saying, 1 less and then give an indication so the child can actually go back to writing 4. So, or in the number line, it's a beautiful concept. In fact, many teachers don't use the number line. I always recommend teachers to use the number line because it's important for the children to understand, where these numbers are. And then when it comes to the before number, it becomes easier for them to correlate and understand that. So superb. I think this is activities for KG, ma'am. Just now, as I told you, Sunita, ma'am, this would be what comes before, what comes after. These are activities which you could do for the KG. You could also do, in fact, what I would do is maybe, you can ask the children to draw different things. Maybe don't take a 4x4 grid, maybe take a 3x3 grid for the children and let them draw different things like an apple. Maybe let them draw, for example, a ball or, a cup or something, different things. It may not have to be in alphabetical A, B, C, D, E. Please strike out the object that begins with A in phonics, if you're talking about phonetics and you want to do that. So then the children will say, maybe I drew an apple, I also drew an aeroplane. Maybe they know, okay, it begins with A. So then they will cut those 2 things, and say, okay, ma'am, I got 2 in one shot. So that could be something which is interesting. So ma'am, for KG, you could definitely do that. Symbols for elements. Yes, perfect ma'am. Veena ma'am, that's perfectly right. You can use symbols for the elements. You can say all those which come in the group. We have the different H, L, I, N, A, K, R, B, C, S, F, R, B, E, M, G, C, A, S, R, B, A, R, A, S, C, Y, lanthanides, actinides. So you can say in which particular group it comes in. Strike out those particular things. For the senior groups, you can always do that. So you can do amazing things with KG, with the middle school, with the primary school, with the high school children, and any subject for that matter. You can definitely do that. I would love, can we use this math activity for middle school for integers? Yes, definitely, ma'am. In fact, I would recommend that you ask them to write integers, say from, till minus 20. So when you say integers till minus 20, they could write a minus 18, they could write a plus 18 because it always goes till there. So, and then say, yes, what is minus 6 multiplied by 3? Do you have that answer? Mark it. So then it becomes minus 18. So children understand a lot of integers also. Hindi language for the juniors, Sindhu ma'am. मैं वही कहूंगी कि अगर आप just जैसे कि for the pre-KG Hindi for the juniors means I think it would be grades KG to grade 1-2 is what you would be asking. So आप ये बोल सकते हैं उनको different drawings देके जो अक्षर आ से शुरू होता है उनको आप कट कर दीजिएगा अगर है तो. So they could do that. Verbs वगैरह आप बताते हैं ना तो उनको लिखना they can write out the different verbs there and then say that मैं ये वाला verb बता रही हूँ अगर इसका हिंदी अक्षर उधर है run उसका अक्षर है तो फिर आप कैंसिल कर सकते हैं. You could do a correlation of an English to Hindi or a Hindi to English. You could do that also, ma'am. I hope that we can apply it for grammar concepts at primary level. Definitely, ma'am, you can definitely do that. It's a good activity for KG. Wonderful activity, ma'am. Can you show some starter activities for grade 1? Ma'am, I think grade 1, as we rightly said, in fact, I would even say that, you could just say, ask them to draw, for example, starter activity, since ma'am has asked, say 10 coins, and then, 1 tree, and then 2 eyes, and then they could just draw different things. You tell them different objects you can draw here of different numbers. It could be that. And then you write the numeral on the board saying 8. आपके ड्राइंग में अगर कुछ भी 8 का है तो आप वो कलर कर सकते हैं. So there could be some child who has written the 8 wonders of the world, maybe, so and then or something else of 8, maybe 8 mangoes or something. The child can do that. Maybe, ma'am, that could be a starter activity for that. Or you could also do it as place value. How you have, for example, 14. They would have written those numbers, but on the board you would say 1, 10, and 4 ones. If you have that, please click it. So the children, instead of, you can also understand whether children are confused between 14 and 41 also. So that is something which you could do as a starter activity. I hope I have answered most of those questions. We can do this for computer subject too, as mark an input device with lots of alphabet. Perfectly right, ma'am. I think, Shiny ma'am, that's bang on. You can definitely do that. I think we have answered quite a lot of these, unless I've missed out something. Navinder will definitely come back to me on that. So now let me go back to the next one. So we had, first of all, Simon Says, which is what we did just now, and then we had the bingo. Bingo, you can do it with science, with math, as I told you. The next one is very, very interesting, and I call this Pictionary. Smita ma'am, activities for counseling session. I think we can discuss this maybe at the end. We can definitely think on those. Pictionary is again a very interesting thing. So where you as a teacher are going to draw and showcase to the children, and the children will have to guess and show it to you. Okay, this is something which you can do for your primary children and the middle school. Of course, the high school children will definitely know it much faster. For example, I'm just keeping the sheet in front of me and I'm just going to draw. Let me see. So what is this looking like? Can you write it on the chat box? Okay, my drawing is so bad. Okay, somebody said it's a hat. It looks like a line. Perfect, right? So I don't know. Maybe my drawing is so bad. Unfortunately, I'm not great in drawing. So I actually wanted to make this look like a watermelon. Okay, so I had this as a watermelon, and I wanted to go beyond that, and I wanted children to obviously connect it to saying the indication that we are also talking about fractions, and then they will say it is a watermelon. Say, I will not talk. I will give them action. Tell more. So then they will say it is half a watermelon, and then maybe I can draw something like these. And then show this particular picture, and then they will say, okay, these are stars. Then I will say yes. Then I will say the math aspect. So obviously I will tell them, without talking. So they will say 2 by 5 of the stars are shaded. It could be something like that. You could do the same kind of a Pictionary with respect to, for example, for the little ones, if you want to say nut, lemon. Yes, sorry, unfortunately, it was a watermelon. Thank you, teachers. I shall improve my drawing definitely by the time I meet you all next time. So that is, so you can say that you can draw a particular picture, and then they have to write out. For example, if it was a hat, I had drawn a hat, I will say yes, and then they have to write her at the hat and show it to you. So, you can correlate with the spelling also. Similarly, when you're doing it, say, for example, with EVS, so you are going to draw a particular thing. For example, let's say, you're going to draw grapes and say, yes, it is grapes, but you're going to correlate it to what you have learned now, whether it is a shrub or whether it is a tree or whether it is a creeper or whether it is a climber. So then the children will write climber in your grade 3-4 classes and then show it to you. So you can correlate with whatever subject area you're currently doing it also. Yes, Preeti, that was twinkle stars, but of course relating it to the fraction aspect also. Somebody says, I couldn't see. Sorry, Gauri, it was supposed to be a watermelon. I hope it is clear now. This is what I had. It was a watermelon. And the answer I was expecting was it will be half a watermelon because I was doing a fraction session, just to give you an example. Here it was stars, and I had shaded 2 of them. The children will say stars. I will say yes, because it's a Pictionary. I'm not supposed to talk. I will just indicate it with the thumbs up sign. And then I will talk to them about these 2. If I show them, they will say, okay, shaded. So 2 by 5 of the stars are shaded. So you can do that with a math. You can do that, like I told you, with spellings of hat or any other subject area in terms of EVS that you're doing with, etc. But the children in the higher grades enjoy Pictionary, so you can definitely do it with them with other subject areas also. So can I go ahead with this, teachers? So far, do you find this interesting and doable? I think more important for me is, are they doable in your classes? If you can just indicate in the chat box whether they're doable. If a few of you can just indicate, that will be good enough for me. Yes, thank you, yes. Superb. You can do it in the class with your children, and you can definitely come back to us with a little bit of a feedback saying that, okay, these were things which we could do and these were things where we had a problem. Wherever you have a problem too, teachers, please come back to us because we can tweak it. As I told you, these are games which we have made. It is not something which is written in stone and we have to follow those instructions. It's not like the board games that you buy and then you come back and then say, okay, these are the things. In fact, what I have also done is I have put up a lot of games and activities in the YouTube channel. If you search on YouTube as Bhuvaneshwari Raman, you will get. I do have the link also. Maybe I can just show it to you. It is absolutely, you've got right from pre-primary to the grade 10, you can actually have a lot of these activities, how to teach geometry for teachers, for parents, for educators. You can actually do. So these are also activities you can try and incorporate it as activities in your virtual classroom, because again, they are all doable ones, simple things. I never ask teachers to go and buy something from a shop. It is what you have at home. That's why when today Veena and Naveen, they were asking, do the teachers, you're saying activities, do they have to get something? We have not told them. I said, my activities will be things with what they have in their homes. So absolutely doable ones. So let me go to the next one. Okay, we finished Simon Says. And we finished the bingo where we had the English, science, math, SS, all the combinations that you can for all subject areas. And we had the Pictionary also, how we said we could definitely do it with respect to any subject. And of course, do not limit it only for the primary or the pre-primary. It can be done beautifully even for the higher grades also. And then we go to the next one, which is an interesting one, which I love doing it with the children. In fact, children look forward and ask me, ma'am, when are we going to have that kind of a session next? So this is a 5x5 grid which you have. This I have done it for the math activity. I'm just showing it to you for the math activity. Ask children to write any number from 2 to 15. 2 to 12, I'm sorry, 2 to 12, and ask them to write it in any random order. You can see that there are 16 squares, 5 into 5 is 25 squares, and 2 to 12, you obviously have a lot of numbers which will be repeated. If you can see, you see 11 being repeated here. I'm showing the cursor for you to see. You can see that 10 is again repeated here. 2 is also repeated here twice. You have 8, which is repeated here once, twice here. You have 5, which is repeated once and twice here. You have 6, which is not repeated. It occurs only once. So the children can write it in any way. You can write a number appearing 3 times. You can write a number not appearing at all. You can write a number which comes in only once. It is up to the children. So each child has this in her sheet of paper, wherever they are sitting in the virtual classroom. So here, all I ask is keep the dice ready. Do you all know the dice, the game that we play with Ludo, etc.? You have 2 of those, which is dice. The reason we say write from 2 to 12 is because you have dice, the dots are from 1 to 6. You have 1 dot on one particular surface, you have 2 on another one, you have 3 on another one, you have 4 on another one, 5, and then 6. So like that, we have 2 of them. So the way the dice is rolled, whatever falls on that particular thing in terms of a 1 and a 6 coming in, they have to add those 2 numbers and write. I hope it is clear for all of you. Let me just come back. I hope it is clear for all of you. The way it is done is, the grid is a 5x5 grid. You write any numbers from 2 to 12. There are 25 boxes. Obviously, the numbers are going to be repeated. So you can write 2, 2, 2, 3 times maybe. You can write 3 only once maybe. You can write 4, 4 times or 2 times or 3 times, how many ever times. You have dice. You have the 6-sided cube, you know, the dice which you have. If you don't have, there is also something which is called the virtual dice roller on the net available for you. If you just type virtual dice, you will get it. And every time you click the button, it will simulate saying the dice is rolling and it has come to a 5 and a 4. So here you're talking about addition. For example, for the primary children, you want to talk about addition. 5 plus 4 is 9. So if they have a 9, they can place a counter, or they can actually put a cross or whatever it is and keep it there. Then if they have, next time you roll, it is a 6 and a 3. So 6 plus 3 is again 9. So if you have repeated the number, it always helps also. So that's why children understand that, oh, I need to repeat a lot of these numbers and at least I should have once it comes in somewhere. 9. If, for example, there is a 9 written far away and a 9 written close to what they have written, they have to form a line of 3 straight or 3 in terms of horizontal, vertical or diagonal. So I'm going to show you how I have done that. I've just done it with different colors so that you know it is the first time they have rolled it, the second time they've rolled it. So here, the first time we roll it, it's a 9. So the child places the counter there. The next time again the counter is there in 9, and when we have rolled it, the teacher rolls it and says, now all of us are going to follow what the teacher has rolled and said. So it's not like each one separately rolls it at their home. Teacher rolls and now she says it is a 4 and a 4. So they place it at 8 there. So the reason I've covered it with orange is it's the second turn. The third turn will be in blue for you to know why I'm placing it in that particular way. Again, when I roll it the next time, it actually comes in as, again, it is a 6 and a 2. So they know the combination of a 4 and a 4 also being 8 and a 6 and a 2 also being 8. And now this child smartly placed the counter here because she or he is actually wanting to do the diagonal here so that they make it in a straight line here. They could also make it in this particular way where here. So both ways they are keeping it open. And now when you see the next time it rolls, it is a 2 and a 1. So here you see, we are also making place for it to come as a horizontal 1 here. And then we have the next one. Again, it is a 1 and a 3. So it becomes a 4. So here they form what is called as the horizontal they have made, and that child becomes the winner. So there's a lot of mental calculation and smart in terms of a smart play, in terms of logical thinking on where do I place my counter, because 2 is given in one place here and it's also given in another place here. Why should I place my counter here? Because I want to make it into a straight line if I get a chance to get a 10 or a 12. Or maybe I just want to make sure that I get it in the diagonal line. So the person who does it first becomes the winner. So this game can be tweaked in various ways. This was just for the primary. So you can also do it in terms of subtraction. So you can say that you keep a target. In this subtraction, we are not going to do 6 minus 3, not the simple one. We are going to make it more difficult for the children, or rather a little more challenging. I won't say difficult, challenging for the children. So you say you have a target. You can choose any target which is more than 20. The reason being so that you can subtract and you can get those numbers. Assume that I have the target of 30. Now I am rolling my dice. If the dice comes to 3 and 5, I know that 3 plus 5 is 8. But I'm not going to stop there. It is also an addition and a subtraction. How many points did you first have? 30 points. That was something that all of us have 30. I have 30, you have 30, next person has 30, all the children in our class have 30. From 30, they cut this 3 and 5, so that comes to 22, and they place the target on that number 22 if they have it in the grid. And similarly, they continue. Suppose the next time it comes to 4 and 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. From 30, if I cut out 5, it will become 25. Then I have to place my counter on that. So the subtraction in terms of how you can, reduce the terms, or rather do a faster mental subtraction, because subtraction is also a difficult concept for the children. So generally when you say 30 minus 8, children will be thinking, is it 22 or is it 12? I'm confused. So then this way, when they do it, they know that yes, 30 minus 8, instead of doing 30 minus 8, I do 30 minus 10, which is 20. But then 8 is much, much lesser than 10, right? So I have to have the 2 added, which makes it 22. So the children in the middle school can do multiplication. So whatever digits come in there, they could have it as 6 multiplied by 3 or 4 multiplied by 6, and then place the counters, and whoever gets the Jaldi 5 or in a row, it depends on what you want to discuss with the children. And you also have division. So you can play multiple things with just the same board game which we have just made, and children can actually do a lot of these things. This is the YouTube channel that I was talking to you about. You have a lot of things with respect to, how you can have storytelling and puppet making for the pre-primary, or you can have geometry. How do I understand squares and triangles? How do I understand squares and rectangles? Or what do I mean by circles? Why do I read about circles? Do I ever need? What are the games that I can play with the children in terms of, while I'm baking, do I even use math? Yes, math is everywhere. So these are small little things which you can see, which you can also incorporate as activities. Teachers, the end objective is children have to be happy. And children have to actually be interested in what is going to be coming ahead. So that's why please use various tools and techniques to make sure that your enabling the children to understand, get interested, and focus and have the concentration. So simple things is what we actually need. And the reason I came back here is to show you what are the things that we have actually gone through as a recap. So for those of you who joined in late, please have a look at this so that we can just come back to the recap in terms of what are all the things that we did. So a quick recap. The first thing that we saw was the A to Z game and how we can connect the A to Z game to any of our subject areas. We had given, 8 minutes, etc., for doing the first 10 letters of the alphabet. You could do with your children for the first 5 letters, or you could do with respect to what subject you are doing, or any alphabet in random that you're taking also. It could be a Thursday on that day. So you could say THURSD is what I want you to do. Maybe the first 5 letters or something like that. It could be anything. A to Z, how do you connect it with the subject areas? And the second thing, what we did was, what did we do? A to Z. What was the next one that we did? Any of you remember? So shall we just go back to the share the screen so that we don't miss out telling the people who have joined in late? So we did the A to Z. And then we said the points, of course, yes, how we do the points. And then here again for the points, what particular tables your children are familiar with. If they are familiar with the skip counting of 5, keep the points as 5. If they are familiar with 2, please keep the points for 2 so that they know the skip counting tables of 2. Then we had extending into the subject areas, as we said, and then we had what is common. And when we say what is common, we say that we choose a few of the things which have something in common. Like here we had blue in common, or the liquid, or a beverage, or the tail, etc. that was in common, and have the children answer that. You could have this as a note which is written by you and you show it on the camera, or you can do it as a PPT like how we have shown it right now. We did Simon Says with various actions so that you enable them to get up, move, etc. And they also know their orientation. 90 degrees to the left, 90 degrees to the right, anti-clockwise, clockwise. You can have that for the seniors also. Bingo, we said in English, you could use it for synonyms, you can use it for antonyms, you can use it for your adverbs, you can use it for your superlative, comparative, degrees, etc. All those things also. We could do it in science, we could do it in math and in social studies, as we said. Bingo, the number of squares that you want your children to draw could be a 4x4 grid or a 3x3, depending on what is it that your age of the child is, so that it's easy for the child to do. Pictionary is again how beautifully, without saying anything, how you can actually draw and help your children to actually understand what that particular drawing is all about, and you can relate it to what you're doing in your subject areas. Like if you're doing fractions or you're doing percentages, you could do that. You could also do that in terms of spellings. Suppose you want the children to write out the spellings, etc. You could do that in terms of symbols. For example, if you're teaching them something in chemistry, you can do that with respect to biology. If you're talking to them about different organs or the different systems of the body, you can do that with Pictionary. Any subject. It's not that only the subjects that I have quoted right now, it could be all subjects. Even the Hindi language, as well as your foreign language as a French, or whether it is a German or a Spanish, you could use these activities for. The next is what I call it as a gridlock, where you have the dice which you have, and you roll the dice, and what comes on the dice, as you can use it for addition, and then you allow the children to place the counters, and those of them who complete the first 3 in terms of a single line, horizontal, vertical, or diagonal become the winners. And again, the numbers can be repeated here, and going could be something with respect to subtraction or multiplication. The previous slide, what I have written here, gridlock with 3 players, is you can ask your children to extend this and take it forward in their homes and play it with their mom or dad or brother. So like the earlier one, you could do it with 2 colors, say for a 2-player game also. And this could play your game. You can see the three different colors or counters that have been. Since they're all going to be physically present there, you can have different counters and they can play on the same board. Since we are doing it in a virtual classroom, that's why I said each child has a different grid. And when you roll it, depends on what is it that they have as an answer, whether it's there in their grid, because they've chosen to write the numbers on their own. And then, of course, I told you the variations could be with respect to subtraction, where you choose a target number. The target number could be anything which is, say, beyond 20 to make it a little more interesting. Suppose you keep it as 30, whatever number you roll, and that number comes as, say, 3 and a 5, you add it up and you subtract from the target number that you have fixed. And that particular number is the one which you will have to cross if you have it in your grid. You can do it with a multiplication, you can do it with a division, etc. And I think with this, I come to the end so that those of you who have joined late also are able to actually see this. Last but not the least, which is very important for me, I want you to just write on the chat box, what was your takeaway? One key takeaway, if you can just write it on the chat box. Thank you, Sharon. A very interactive session and games. Your ideas will be implemented. Enjoyed listening. Thank you, Nino. Activities. Thank you, Chetna. Thanks, Kavita. I think this is something which is going to be a recorded session and it will be available for someone who has asked whether these are, so you can definitely have a look at the recorded session. All these slides will be available for you there. A wonderful session. Thank you. Effective, interest in class. Thank you. Thank you so much. Vandana, Anuja, thank you. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. A to Z games is something which is a great takeaway. Wonderful. Grid, game, and dice. Leading my team to incorporate the activities. Thank you, Smita ma'am. Kiran says innovative ideas. Okay, please share your. I am not sure whether I can share my email ID. I should just check with Navinder. But I am available on Facebook. I am there on LinkedIn. And my name is Bhuvaneshwari Raman. You've seen my face. So you can definitely connect it up with the photographs which are there.
Bhuvaneshwari ma'am. So
yes.
I think so. I'll be sharing everything with our participants. So, okay. So thank you so much. And
Wonderful.
I would like to say, because I personally, I've traveled with you so many times. It's every time I meet you, I get to learn new things. The zeal that you have for education, for the students, for the teachers is awesome.
Thank you so much.
Rock. So I think so everybody in our group, every teacher who is there, they are writing. I'm getting my messages over the phone by many of the principals that it's a very nice session. Thank you so
nice.
much.
Thank you so much, teachers.
So some of the key takeaways that we have here is, because the topic was part of activity during virtual classes, but I think so our teacher will be taking this along in the years to come also into a traditional classroom scenario. So it is not only about virtual classes, but also in traditional classes. Some of the takeaways that we had, that you started with the kinesthetic activity. I don't think so we have attended any webinar where such kind of activity has been done.
Okay.
So this is again what some of the key takeaways that you can include back during your online classrooms also. So that we have seen here that we have used differentiated activities. So I can even have a differentiation into the content, into the product, into the process. I'm sure many of my teachers who understand differentiation very well will be able to say, yes, we have witnessed that also. So I think so that was not at all difficult. Multi-level intelligence was also being catered to by these activities. The most interesting idea was the rubric that you have shown us, the bonus point that we can add in the rubric to have the creativity built into our students. That was a wonderful idea. I have never thought of it, to be very frank. Many of my teachers will agree on this. Also the interdisciplinary connection. So that is also becoming very, very important. So these were some of the key takeaways that we have from your session. And since I know you personally, so the tone and pitch in your session, in your teachings, when you ask questions to the student is very, very important, as we have seen your tone and pitch also. Okay, when you have to bring some interest into the topic, so you were using that as your one of the strengths. So thank you so much. So with this, Bhuvneshwari ma'am, I have 3 questions. Most of the questions were answered by you, but still there are 3 questions. The first one is, what kind of activities can we have for the counseling sessions?
What kind of activities, Navinder, can you come again? Sorry.
What kind of activities can we have for the counseling sessions?
For the counseling session. So when we are talking about counseling session, I think what the teacher was referring to is, I think, counseling when you're talking to a child, when the child has a certain problem area, the child has a difficulty, or child has some kind of, something which has happened at home, maybe a new brother is, come in, or the child feels neglected. So those kind of counseling sessions is when the child will not open up. So it is very important to make the child feel a little comfortable with the counselor. We don't want to get too close or understand, but just to open up so that, you have the area where the discussion happens in a stress-free and the child feels more comfortable to, voice out his or her thoughts or whatever it is. So I think for counseling session, Navinder, I would definitely recommend a lot of these games that we did in terms of a bingo, in terms of the gridlock, where the counselor can actually sit and, have a sheet saying, let's play a bingo game. And then, you throw the dice out and then, you take turns and, say, oh yeah, my God, you won, you're amazing. So give them that kind of feeling that, they have done better than us. And they were faster in calculation or something like that. I would say that I think most of these activities that today what we have done can be incorporated in the counseling session to make sure that the child is comfortable discussing on what questions maybe as a counselor you want to pose. I hope that answers, Navinder.
Yeah, thank you so much. So second question that we have is, how can we have some collaborative activities for middle section students?
Yes, that was the thing I was asking. So when you say collaboration, we are very clear that collaboration means group work, okay? So what you can do is, while they are doing these kind of sessions, you're introducing them to a particular key concept, and you've taught them something, say, about a plateau or certain things about, volcanoes or whatever it is. Or when you're talking about the primary session, say maybe about the climbers or the creepers, or maybe you've talked something about water, what are the different states of water, etc. And then you ask them to say, we will have a small project that you're talking about, say a water cycle, which you will present it in a different form, maybe with a particular group of people. It could be a pictorial, it could be a caricature, it could be a cartoon strip, it could be a role play, it could be a film that you're going to record. And obviously, we are talking about social distancing. We do not want you to meet personally. Each one of you will do your bit and put it together and send it to us as a project, or present it to us as a project. So enable collaboration, because children are definitely going to talk to their friends. They are also using these other mediums in terms of, WhatsApp video calls, or, whether they're talking to them on Skype or whatever medium it may be. Allow them. So they're going to discuss this. So you take a concept and then you allow them to discuss it while they are at home, and then come back to you and present it virtually in the classroom also. I hope that answers, Navinder.
Yeah, thank you so much. And now, last question that we have here is that if you can give us some more idea about the preliminary activities for virtual classrooms.
Preliminary activities, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, preliminary activities means, I think, as a starter, you mean to say like a starter, correct?
Yeah, it can be starter also, but also during the teaching when we are doing, even at that time also.
Okay, so preliminary activities, I think what I really like is also what I call as, the number game. So the number game is something which I say, suppose, for example, each one has an action. So I say one stands for, a mixer. So you'll have to shout, you know, things like that. 2 stands for example, a drum beat. Something like that. 3 stands for a trumpet. And then you have this. Yeah. 3 stands for, say, a trumpet. And then say, pop, 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 pop. Okay. Then I say, I will tell it in a particular order and you will have to do that. First, give them 1 each. Okay. Then say 2. Then they'll do. Each one of the child in their classes or in their virtual rooms will do this. Then you say 1, then they'll say whatever is the mixy sound. Then you make it a little more interesting and say 3, 2, 1. Then, you know, you will have somebody saying, boop, 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 you know, things like that. So make a combination of 1 or a 2 or a 3 and then make it that way. So this is an activity which Navinder, I always feel gets them back because they're all giggling and each one has done it in a different way. And, you know, it creates that kind of an enthusiasm. So it's not related to a subject area, but I feel that these are also activities which you should have. Another thing that I generally say is an attention grabber, which I strongly feel is again very important in a virtual medium. The moment you're silent, see, when you're talking, the child may be looking here, looking there, looking at the fan, maybe thinking, what is it which is cooking? Nice spicy smell is coming. I think mommy is making Maggie. You know, those kind of thoughts will come. But the moment you actually have something which is, you know, different, the children will actually be saying. Then, you know, those kind of attention grabbers could be something like this. The moment they hear this, they're wondering, what is this teacher doing, you know? So then they say, so you do in all 4 directions and then do. So have these kind of different attention grabbers where they say, you know, they focus on their attention there. Yes, wonderful. Somebody else is also doing it along with me. So let's do it once again. All of you, come on, let's do it. Either go up or just stay quiet. So then the entire focus, oh my God, okay, what is this? Pre-primary children love this. Try this out with your pre-KG and your grade 1 and 2. Navinda, does it help for your preliminary activities and starters?
Okay, yeah. This was a bonus to us, Bhuvaneshwari ma'am. This was a bonus to us. Okay, thank you so much for being with us and taking us with this session. The 2 hours, I don't know where it had gone. I wanted to listen to you more. I'm sure my participant also wanted to listen to you more. So thank you so much, Bhuvaneshwari ma'am, and thank you, participants. Till we meet again, and be safe and be healthy. Thank you and bye-bye to everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Stay safe, all of you. Bye.